You are live.
Good afternoon. The hour 5 o'clock having arrived, Monday, April 24th, 2023. I now officially call the Public Safety and Licensing Committee meeting. We've started. I will call to order approval of the minutes for April 10th, 2024.
Happy to make that motion.
We have a motion.
Second.
Second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. We now move into our first item on the agenda this evening, item number 0412-23. Subject, communication sponsored by Alder Sebastian, submitting a change of owner application for a Class B retail fermented malt beverage and intoxicating liquor license for Buckets Pub Second Round LLC, doing business as Buckets Pub Second Round, located at 2031 Lathrop Avenue. Marcy, is it Bruley?
Bruley, yeah.
Great. Agent, 14th District. Would you like to speak? Please proceed.
You gotta swear.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Swear in.
Would you please? Oh, by the way, this is my first evening as chair, so please forgive me.
You can have the city attorney do it if you like.
A city attorney, would you please swear our speaker in?
I certainly can, Mr. Chair. Ms. Burley,
you.
if you could raise your right hand. I can't see you, but if you could raise your right hand, thank you.
Good.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Please proceed.
Okay. So we plan to take over the current Buckets Pub as Buckets Pub Second Round, keeping it a sports bar with the full menu. There's a banquet room in the attached to it. We plan on having catering and banquets out of there.
Okay.
And you guys have been doing this a long time. You're just taking over an establishment that's been in place for a while.
Right.
And you also own another establishment and
Right.
stuff like that, so you guys have the experience that you need. Doesn't sound like much is changing at all.
No, the menu's gonna change a little bit, you know, we're gonna open at 10 a.m. during the week for just the, bar, and 9 a.m. on the weekends. We are planning on closing at midnight. We do have our hours down in case of parties or such. The Buckets has been there 39 years. I've been in business for 4 years. Joey and Anna, my partners, have been around for a lot longer. So, but yeah, just taking over the established business.
Okay. Yes, all the people.
You said you've been in the business 4 years, you've been at Buckets, or you run a different, whatever?
No, I own Marcy's on Main,
Oh.
and I've been in the bar business for 30-some years, but owning my own. I actually worked for Joey for 10 years before that.
And all the person.
Thank you. I just have a comment. I noticed the Good Neighbors report. We had no concerns on there. And I know you said the previous owner had the establishment for 39 years.
Yes.
And you having a wealth of knowledge, this is a good combination. And I think when we're looking for partnerships and we're looking for those who are gonna run our liquor establishment here in the city, it's a reassuring feeling, at least on this end. We've already have a good relationship with you, with your establishment on Main Street, and so it gives me comfort to know that. And I just wanna reiterate, if there comes to be any questions, this is much more sizable than what you're working with on Main Street. So if you start having some type of indication that there's a change, that you might feel it's a little overwhelming, not in a sense of from business matters, but just maybe from the outside aspect, just because we have had some concerns with public safety going on around that area, please don't hesitate to give us a call first. And well, the police department first.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Not us particular,
Okay.
but just alerting us, because, what we might start to see, we get a licensed premise report, for our meetings, and if we start seeing a lot of calls of service, not so much on your end, but, calls from patrons, for example, it's gonna start raising a red flag. And so just trying to be as proactive, and maybe with all of us working together, the community included, it'll maintain for another 39 years plus.
Yes.
So, happy to see
Thank
that
you.
this is gonna be under, your, oversight.
Thank you.
Please.
And Marcy, and you're the agent on this license, correct? And with your partnership with, other owners, you will remain that agent, and if anything were to change, that would then go to this committee again? Perfect, thank you.
That sounds like a good plan to me, and based
One
on
more
what the,
question.
I'm sorry.
One more question.
Yes, sir, please.
You're keeping it a sports bar, you plan on introducing any music?
It really hasn't been talked about. I think we're pretty much keeping it a sports bar. I mean,
Okay, and no exterior changes, no adding on patio space, or, it's pretty much as is, or you adding?
yeah, we did change the description today. That was included. I kind of went with, what Chuck had wrote down, because, and so he had the parking lot. I talked with Attorney New this morning. We took off the parking lot from the new description and just included that asphalt that's in the back without parking spots. And that's so we could maybe do bags out back on that asphalt there.
It just says asphalt, no parking spaces, doesn't say patio, so you're,
No, the patios are listed on the,
So this is behind the building, to the,
right.
east.
Did,
All right, so as I'm looking at the building from Lathrop Avenue, I know you got the smoking room or whatever,
yeah,
okay. As I'm looking at it, where would the bags be, behind the building?
yes,
So, there,
so the east side.
Yeah, the east side, that's what I said.
right, but it doesn't say, it just says dumpster, it doesn't say patio.
Well, it's,
Well, I wrote asphalt, no park, 'cause it's not really a patio back there, it's
But
like
you
a,
plan on using it for patio space?
no, we were talking about like putting bags, tournaments,
If you bring alcohol out there.
yeah,
yeah, well, that would be included in the premise description.
right, that's why we included in the,
I guess I just don't see it in the drawing.
Yeah, well, it's right here, there's just no parking there, that's what, I know what you're saying.
That's the patio.
Right.
All right,
Thank you.
okay. Are there any other questions from officers? Well, I agree with some of the comments that's already been made. You certainly have the experience and the good reputation at Marcy's. I think at this time, and
Alder P.
Yes.
Attorney New.
Attorney New,
Thank you, Mr.
please
Chair.
go ahead.
Thank you. I would just note for the committee that because the premise description was changed today and it's not part of the license application packet that you already have, that if you do approve, it should be with the amended premise description. So if you do approve, I would ask for a motion to approve with the amended premise description as submitted.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second?
All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Now, I think we have to vote on the original application, right? Or does that take care of both?
It does.
Okay. Well, in that case, the motion passes.
Goes passes at council next Tuesday.
Yes,
right?
go, yes.
Okay.
okay.
Good luck. Thank you.
Thank you all.
thank you.
Why you took so long?
I like being first.
Okay.
Right? Have a great Monday.
Thank you. Okay, now we'll move into item number 413-23, communication sponsored by Alder Sebastian, submitting a new application for a reserved Class B retail permitted malt beverage and intoxicating liquor license for Spring Circle LLC, doing business as Save a Lot, located at 3701 Durand Avenue. Michael, is it pronounced that?
Yes, sir.
Agent, District 11.
Agent correct.
Please come up.
want the agent or the?
Pull up, you can both come up.
We'll take both of you.
Okay.
But,
Attorney, would you please swear both, people in?
Yes, Mr. Chair. Gentlemen,
Thank
if you raise your right hand, please. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth so help you God?
I do.
Thank you,
Yes,
Mr. Chair.
please.
Thank you.
Thank you. Please proceed.
I'm attorney Jay Walia. I'm related to this table lot is part of the Elmwood Plaza.
Yes.
And, there was another, I think a franchisee was there for table lot due to the sale, so they left in February. So they are around, at that time, they are around 20, like, one thing is that kind of anchor for Elmwood Plaza, it's like 30,200 something. And then, we contacted the corporate office over there in Missouri, who owned the franchisor, I guess that's the right word. So they said, well, sale was down, so we sit down with them and then, if you have liquor, then probably you can make it, but we won't warn you, then it was down. And, so they approve us, it's my wife and he manager, right now is manager and agent, but he worked for me other places, he done pick and save and stuff. Over here, the way it works, he would be supervisor and agent, then most probably the same, her name is Diana, she used to be the manager, and her sister was there, all those 20 people was within around the neighborhood in the scene, so they are willing to come back. Right now, she's working in one of the temporary in one of the table lot in West Dallas, but she's from here, her sister. Once this place open, then they can come back. Yeah. And then basically we got from the corporate the same, all the format going to be the same, and except whatever that on the side, it was at that time they were not using that area. That's where we're going to be sit down and we're going to add that walk-in cooler and stuff. And that's what we're waiting for, applying for the building permit. If we approve, get the approval, then we go apply to the building permit and health department. So obviously they probably have some other requirement to take care of it. Any questions? And we talked to, I'm pretty sure, we talked to our elder, Miss Mary Land, I believe. She told us she's in support of it.
Yes.
We asked the city attorney about the good neighbor meeting, and then also asked, Mr. Legath, what the police department's, say is on this.
Okay.
So we'll talk to New first.
Attorney, would you please comment?
Yes, I can do that. And I do have to apologize, Mr. Chair. There seems to be a little bit of a lag, so I keep interrupting you. I don't mean to. It's coming. It's
That's
like
fine.
a 5-second lag. Okay. So as you probably know, or you might know, I just got back from leave today. I did not personally attend the Good Neighbors meeting myself. However, my colleague Ian did attend that meeting. And from what I can tell, they did discuss the concept. It's being proposed here that they do a combination grocery store and bar, tavern. So this would all be under a Class B license. While it is legal under state law, it does raise some legal issues that the committee might want to consider. The main issue being underage persons on premises. So with the Class B premises that the applicant is applying for, there is an exception for that person, for underage persons to be on the premises of a grocery store. However, persons under 21 obviously cannot be in the bar or tavern part of the premises without a legal guardian. So the question becomes, if you are doing a combination grocery store and tavern, where is the division? Is it separated by any sort of wall? Will there be staff to monitor a person going from one side to the other? Because obviously you do have to have staff to check ID to make sure that no underage person goes into the bar or tavern part. Will the hours be the same? It looks like the hours listed on the application are bar hours. So will the grocery store be open up to 2 o'clock on weekends, or I'm sorry, on weekdays, and 2:30 on weeknights? Will there be separate entrances to keep people from going from one side to the other? Who is going to check IDs? So those are some of the issues that the committee may want to ask the applicant. It may have been discussed as part of a Good Neighbors meeting, but it wasn't clear to me that there were any clear answers at that point, or that there has been a clear plan to address those issues. The other issue as well that was indicated in there is that the applicant stated that they may change grocers. At this time, they are working with the Save-A-Lot as a chain. That may change to something else. I don't know what the status of that is. The applicant may have mentioned it previously, but it was hard for me to hear. But assuming that that is in flux, that would make a big difference as to whether the applicant qualifies for a Class B. So if it truly is a grocery store, they can do that combination grocery store and tavern. But if they turn it into a convenience store, there's no such exception in state law to open a combination convenience store and bar. So we do want to make sure that it stays as a grocery store. And if it's not Save-A-Lot, who is it going to be with? What sort of store will it be run as? And lastly, I would just ask that if the committee does approve this, because there is so much construction work and renovation that still has to be done, that the committee grant a conditional approval of the license, meaning that no license is issued until the premise is ready and to be operated as a bar and a combination grocery store, but it does have to be done within a 6-month time period. So again, I would ask for a conditional grant. I also spoke with the police department, specifically Sergeant Legath, and he did identify some issues that the police department may have with operating a combination grocery store and tavern. So I'll let him speak to it. But I believe that those are the issues that were addressed at the Good Neighbors meeting.
Thank
like Attorney New said, some of the issues we would have is separation. You know, if it's going to be closed off, or if it's not closed off, how are we going to keep underage parties there? Also, there's already a bar, probably 3-4 storefronts away from you. So how would that work with
Yes, we are fully aware of it. I don't know, I don't want to interrupt you, but when we have good neighborhood meeting, the only reason was we got okay by the Save-A-Lot corporate office. And then we didn't, it's going to be supermarket, it's not going to be convenience store. The only reason when we were looking and we were talking to some other managers, they were saying that we approved by Save-A-Lot. That's our plan right now. The only thing I brought it up to the neighbor meeting because of some was mentioning maybe Century Food Store might be the good idea instead of Save-A-Lot. So it is, but one thing is I don't think it's available because they didn't give us an answer yet, because there's a festival that's so close. Because it's the same company, Unify has a Century store and they have festivals. So we're not talking about convenience, so we only thought maybe if Century supermarket become better option and plus we have available, then maybe we should look into between Save-A-Lot and Century. But we're not looking at anything else. Right now, almost like we don't even have choice right now. They are going to look into it. The sales rep is on vacation. But he brought it up because of it might be too close for festival food, so they might not approve it. So these are the only two options. Main was Save-A-Lot. That was just thought, so I didn't want to, we were thinking about, so I wanted to bring it to, as soon as we knew, we want to bring it to your good neighbor meeting. And then another thing is, we are obviously, one thing I noticed other places, I look, historically, supermarket never have any issue. There are two reasons why they don't have it. This one came about, there's a Whole Food in Wauwatosa. They have, the part where you can sit and this, plus they're selling it. And then, that I don't know why, but historically I looked at, I went to another supermarket, I was in Missouri, I see a couple over there. They showed us, and, a lot of people show us that, this, so that, one thing I think, we're not gonna close the bar close. We're gonna close whatever time will be for the grocery store. And then if you see, what we have right now, mostly we have, it's already separated, there's separate door in there, which is not used. We're gonna have open, in the middle, like the plan called for, and then once the 9 o'clock, that will be closed from the grocery side. The grocery side will be all, I think we can't sell after 9 o'clock. And then if grocery store, most probably we're just gonna close 9 to 10 o'clock. In the event we close at 12 o'clock, we're not going to open after 12 unless something, labor market and stuff is 24 hours. But right now our plan is up to 10 o'clock, but no more than 12 o'clock. But we're going to open at the same time when grocery store, supermarket open. We're going to close everything. We have, so it's not, plus wherever I seen it, they said, well, maybe too, usually supermarket don't have that kind of issue. People don't like to, and I see almost every day, pretty much, Wauwatosa, I see the wholesale food, and they do the same thing. It's nice, we're gonna have Starbucks coffee probably in there. This is a bit, more, and then, so we're gonna close no more than 12 o'clock.
So one more, are you gonna have, so the bar is gonna be in there, or people are gonna have the option to go in there and then?
Yeah, bar it's gonna be, in the event store is open, our original store is open after 9 o'clock, we can sell the.
Right, because you have
the bottled water.
Right.
So we have, there's one door is a closed door where you can go for, have drink or coffee. And then there's another, if you see the plan, in the middle, there's like the opening. That would be stay only open up to 9 o'clock. And then we put, so that nobody can go from the grocery store to, the only way they can go in there, that there's a door next to the bathroom. It's a closed door.
Okay.
Go over there, obviously, somebody will check before go in. But most probably our plan is right now, we're just gonna close 9 o'clock. We don't have to worry about, place open, but in the event right now, store open up to, I think, 10 o'clock. So that's our plan, but I figure if, in the beginning, we probably do 6 to 9 in the beginning. Instead of 4 hours, we worry about somebody sell after 9 o'clock or somebody else. But in the event we did it to 12 o'clock, then we shut separate from the grocery store. We only go to their door already in there near the bathrooms. If you see right behind, that's the area will be open for a few hours.
I have a couple questions. I don't know if Alder, Peterson, you had questions
I'm not
before I
sure
did.
who
Go ahead.
So with this concept, in this location, it's slightly unusual. When you're looking at, a large-scale grocery store along with a bar, as it says in this contract, a restaurant as well. I understand the increased revenue with having a bar available there. However, as you considered, I'm sure you did, to employ and staff having that component to the store as well. I'm sure you, researched the ROI on that. However, have you entertained what risk structure would look like on that? Having a Save-A-Lot grocery store, which would be a great grocery store that you could sell these items, as opposed to operating what could be, a very clunky, if you will, operation when you're looking at, responsibilities and labor and financing and things like that.
Yeah, we did look at it. Then we talked to the city and, because of, they wanted to consider us as a franchisee, they wanted us to have, you know, that, ability to, because they said, you know, because of the last, Yellow Banana or somebody, they took over some, stores, so they said they could make it, so we wanted to.
Okay. And if I may offer a follow-up question, as you, are comparing, to Wauwatosa, correct?
Yeah.
Something that worked out well. We definitely understand the demographic in Wauwatosa is very different than the demographic to where we're proposing this. So this is essentially apples and zucchinis when you're looking at, location. Is there a possibility moving forward to just operate as a grocery store with selling, beer and alcohol to amend this, or is it something?
That's the main reason we got into this. And then we talked to, as a person, we talked to the city, and I think there was no, everybody, they thought, you know, this is the option to, we are paying extra, because there was no Class B, we are paying extra $15,000 for, because I know that's the only option. But that's the main goal. That was the main goal was for, and, so then they said, right now that's the option.
So are you gonna be operating more as a grocery or a bar restaurant? More as a grocery, but with that option.
It's big, it's 30,200 square foot total, and then, so it's it looks like 90% gonna be just Save-A-Lot, but my manager, one might be the manager, some other people looked at it, they said, the Santi just coming back again, so it came out of blue. That's why, because I thought, well, let's, you know, look at that, but it is still supermarket, it's gonna be the same size. We are not making any third choice. Well, most part looks like that to me. If they're delaying, we don't want to delay, plus I know in the application written, in case you approve conditional use, after 60, I think it's 6 months or 90 days, we cannot, you know, it has to be, we have to get occupancy and everything to go, before, I think it's 6 months or 90 days. I think, it was on the application too. I think I have to get all the.
Excuse me, Attorney, did you wanna say something to the time on the conditional permit?
Sure. So with the conditional grant of a permit or of a license, the applicant would have 6 months to start operating under the license from the date of the Common Council approval. However, there is a possibility for the applicant to apply to the Public Safety and Licensing for an extension of 3 months, 2 3-month extensions. So he has 6 months. If he needs more time, he can apply for another 3 months and then one more time after that. So up to a year. And that again is from the date of the Common Council approval.
Thank you. Please continue.
Our goal is to, because obviously they close, the store closed in February, I think, of 16. And obviously more gap it is, we do, you know, less, the customer knows. So our goal is to, you know, our goal is to do right away, but obviously we got to get all the approvals done. And, so we are hoping within 60 days we can be able to open, but it's obviously subject to getting all the approval from health department, building department for the occupancy, everything. And, but that's our goal, 60 to 90 days we should be able to. That's a realistic number, but, you know, when you get approvals, obviously we got to follow whatever, but I think it's been pretty decent, you know, building department and health department. We are, so I think, realistically, between 60 to 90 days, we are hoping to perform.
Any, Alder Peterson?
We had a similar concept coming for us for Douglas Avenue, and this committee was, pretty staunch against mixing although that was more of a convenience store / grocery store with a bar. I see similar issues and I see similar concerns. It's not something I want to get into. So I don't see myself supporting putting a bar in this location with a grocery store, selling beer, wine, and liquor, fine, but not a bar.
Please, Alder Cole.
So, this is starting to come up more and more, and I'm really worried about it. We have a finite number of licenses, reserve licenses that we have. We should not be, if we open up a can of worms like this, we need these for restaurants, nice restaurants possibly coming into town and stuff like that. I've had a lot of people call me up about the same concept because they want that liquor license. This is so you got a great big place, Doobie's Beer Joint, and there's bars all around that area. And this is a 30,000 square foot building. There's no way I can support a liquor license, and that's because ultimately it's gonna become a bar, and that's my feeling. So I won't be voting yes on this.
Any, Alder Caprini, please?
Sure. Hey, the zucchini.
Yes.
I wanted to look up, and I see that there was a bar, grocery store, and I was just doing a little bit of background as you were talking, and I see one's in Bayview, and Bayview is definitely not Racine, Wisconsin, apples and zucchini. I first will commend you on kind of thinking a bit outside the box, even though now that I'm looking, there's a lot of these kind of popping up in various locations. And a bar brings neighborhood maybe together, brings people, it's a meeting space. So I don't so much poo-poo the idea of a gathering space. However, being that our community does not have it, it's hard for us to grasp this concept here in Racine, Wisconsin. So maybe you're a little bit more forward thinking than maybe what we feel comfortable with, because it's not existing in our community currently. It is a huge space you have to work with, a very large space that you have to work with. And the thought of bringing a grocery store back to that area excites me. I know we have a lot of food deserts, however, there are some food options over there, but always offering an opportunity for nutrition and a positive place for the community go to get their food. Combining the two together, I'm not there yet. You might be there, I'm not there yet. I would like to continue to look at, I hope our community can continue to grow, but my concern with such a large space too, and two new things coming in. It'd be different if you were an established grocery store for a while, and we got to build that trust. You have a lot of experience in grocery stores, so I know that you could make that successful, but right now we have some public safety concerns in our neighborhood, our neighborhood being all of Racine. So I think what we need to do is find those things that help us mend at a time and not give us some things that might be some challenges. We don't know, I have no crystal ball, it might be something that's quite successful, but we have to make our decision today, right here, right now. So as much as I applaud you on your business savviness and your forward thinking, I just can't grasp that at this time.
Yeah, add one thing.
Sure.
Elmwood Plaza is over 200,000 square. It's not only gonna affect, this, whole place affecting the whole Elmwood Plaza, which is a pretty good corner, and you know more about the scene than I do. But what I know, whoever I talk to, either they grow over there, the Elmwood Plaza was one of the staples. staple, a mall. And, if that's closed, it's affecting the whole mall to affect other, so it's not only, I think it's 21 or 19 acre. It's not like it's next to the neighborhood. It's a 19,000 square foot mall. It, one thing, or it's not like, little grocery store in the corner. It's, you're talking about this gonna affect the rest of the neighborhood. It's just Elmwood Plaza alone, with affecting other one. Because that's the anchor tenant in the middle. And, so but that's, to me, obviously it's gonna affect the rest of the neighborhood, because we got the Highway 11, the new one, last 3-4 years. And, then that's just the mall alone, and then obviously, whoever you talk to, they have some history with the Plaza. And whatever you decide, it's gonna make a big difference, not only that store, that you're talking about just that strip, and then obviously other neighborhoods.
I just wanna follow up, if you don't mind.
Please.
Okay. I concur. Vacancy, having a vacant spot, does cause some concerns. It can encourage more blight. And so my question back to you would be, if the bar concept, that we're struggling on this combination of a bar grocery, this is kind of what I'm feeling the pulse of this community right now. If we do not approve moving forward with a bar/grocery store, does that mean there will be no grocery store proposal?
No grocery store with that. Only we probably ask for maybe warehousing or something we can do, storage place. But the thing is, I just want to make sure, it was not originally our idea to have the bar in there. Then because we talked to the city clerk, we talked to but then I'm not that familiar with all the liquor laws. Idea was, we were not thinking about, we want to open a sit-down place. But then they were saying that there's Class A, I believe, and Class B. And what my understanding is, maybe I'm misinformed or I don't know enough. The idea was, original idea was not to open up the bar or sit-down place. Then when we talked to, they were saying that, okay, right now I think Class A, I don't know if there maybe I misunderstood, but I talked to Elder, I think Maryland is our elder. And she checked it, I checked it, and they gave us that. The Class A is not available right now, and then Class B was not available right now. So they were saying that only looks like so our original idea is basically just to sell the grocery store.
Yeah, a grocery store with a.
That's what I'm talking about, not like a bar.
Right, but a grocery store with liquor options for sale.
Yeah, like bottles.
But, so you said when you asked the city and the alder, it sounded like the only option that you could go and develop a plan.
Actually, that's what it looked like,
There are no Class A license available.
Correct. However, at the same time, with the reserve license, you would not, no, correct me if I'm incorrect, you wouldn't have to open a bar or restaurant.
I don't have,
He's
I
still able
believe
to
that,
operate,
I don't know.
if he does a reserve license for that, he can still sell those products without
I
having
have
an
no
operation.
problem, timing, I
Correct.
believe.
One at a time.
Attorney New is got her hand.
Oh, attorney.
Excuse me. Attorney, could you address that, please, the issue, please, of the types of license
Yes, I can. So with the reserve class B, he would only be able to operate either the bar or the combination concept. If he wanted to open just the grocery store and sell liquor, he can apply for a class A. Now, whether or not he qualifies for the class A depends on the location. It depends on whether there is one available. It also depends on other class A premises surrounding the area. That being said, if the only issue is that we are at quota for the Class A, there are ways to exceed the quota under the ordinance. There's a process that he can go through to prove that or to meet the qualifications to get that license. So I can certainly look into that with him and assist him with it, but it is possible to open a grocery store with the sale of liquor or beer. I would just have to do a little bit more research for this specific location. So if the committee were inclined, the appropriate motion might be to defer this item if he wanted to explore that option.
That's what our main goal is.
So,
Not originally was not, because then I went with the supermarket people, they showed us where it's working. So I have same concern. Plus, Doobie is, one of the tenants for, we don't want to compete with each other, because, there is part of the plaza, so we don't wanna, that was not our goal. And, it's good tenant, long-term tenant, I think, so.
Yes, sir.
Just touching on what News said, I know this happened before, so Class A licenses, you have to have something that is gonna prove beneficial for a neighborhood, substantially improve the neighborhood, and substantially improve the tax base. Like, for instance, we exceeded the quota for the BP on Washington Avenue. Nothing was built there for 50, 60 years, and they put a $2 million gas station and laundromat. So that was a substantial improvement to the tax base, plus an improvement for a neighborhood. And just opening up another store to put a liquor license in, it's not gonna make the tax base any better, and I don't know about improving the neighborhood.
We're talking about Albert Plaza,
I know.
21 acres, substantial, it is, you can ask him, I'm sure you know more than I do, and, obviously one thing is substantial, you're talking about 200,000 square foot, 19 acres in the main letter and it's affecting the lawn, there's substantial amount of development. It's not small, and then obviously it's affecting the whole neighborhood. That I'm talking about just the Albert Plaza alone, then, it makes big difference. I talk to a lot of people, everybody has some kind of story to tell about Albert Plaza. That help us to rejuvenate the whole, because it attracts more tenants, we are less than half. They're gonna, obviously it's gonna substantially, just around Albert Plaza alone, gonna be substantially, more tax benefit alone. And then obviously fabric of the community in that area, because it's one of the main, big, large, Albert Plaza, which has so much history to it, from Johnson Road to, and it's not, you're talking about, it's not a little corner store.
I get.
yeah, okay, I understand.
And,
Where we look?
Alder Peterson.
After listening to New, I would be willing to, I could personally accept the concept of looking for the, exception for the Class A for an additional, and having a grocery store, hopefully with a modest amount of alcohol, not a alcohol store with modest amount of groceries.
yeah.
I could accept something like that and go above, above the quota, but once again, I'm gonna have a hard time with this.
Alder Sebastian or Alder Caprigan?
I'd be
How
willing
both
to
of you?
entertain a motion.
Yeah,
Okay,
we're on the
Okay.
same page.
um,
And what motion?
which motion?
I will make a motion to defer this item to allow for some time to, talk with Attorney New, to change the floor plan. I'll clear the motion up in a minute, but just to be clear, to change the floor plan and to a Class A, which is a sale of liquor for retail
Yes.
purposes. So, my motion is to defer.
I will second that motion.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, any objections? All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 One no.
3 ayes, 3 yes, 1 aye, no, motion carries. I might be out of, protocol here, but I had a question about the type of store or store brand. I'm going back to something that was said several minutes ago. Say, there may be a new chain in, not Save a Lot?
Right now, the only place approve us is same format what we had before from Save a Lot corporate office. So it was run by some, I don't know if licensee or franchise is the right word. They had, and then they approve us for Save a Lot. And then when we were looking at it, and some other people who know more about supermarket, they were mentioning that Century used to be, I have a...
Okay, but is there another, I appreciate what you're saying, but is there another chain that potentially might be coming in?
Maybe
No,
your
no, the
attorney
same
needs
one.
to work with that for our next, for our
Okay.
agenda item.
In place of, we are looking at if Century, one thing if it's available.
Okay, I understand.
Century Food Market.
I
Okay,
think there was a feasibility study you were gonna do?
Plus, when we talked to the company who owned it, the same company owned the festival.
okay,
So they didn't give me full answer if they can consider this for them.
okay, okay.
But we are looking at that one, but right now, only supermarket approved
It's
is Save a
Save a Lot, okay. Okay, then the motion carries then. We will defer it to get additional information.
And you'll work with the attorney?
Yeah,
Yes, please.
Okay.
That good with you, Attorney New?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
So, will we need a new floor plan then going forward?
Yes, because there will be
Yes.
if you choose to do
Yeah, we'll see what the
Class
feedback
A.
was.
Yeah.
Make sure you.
That was our original plan, so we thought that's the only way to go there.
And, if you come back with the Class A, let us know, your floor plan, how much groceries and how much
Yeah.
alcohol you
Thank you.
Thanks for your time,
Very
appreciate
much,
it.
we appreciate it.
Thank
you very
And
much.
good luck to you, thank you.
Maybe there's an exception for the market, some other municipality were saying that usually supermarket has exception too. I don't know, you guys know more, or she knows more.
Okay, yeah.
Thank you.
She would be your contact
Yep.
Okay,
on the
thank you,
legal
sir.
side.
Talk
Thank
to
you
you
very
later.
much. Yes,
Thank you.
please, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on, item number 0094-23, subject communication sponsored by Alderman McCarthy, submitting an application for our premise description. Oh, I skipped one. Oh, sorry about that. Communication sponsored by Alderman Sebastian, requesting the appearance of Jamie Delgado for a renewal operation license, 14th District. Is anyone here?
Our second time, isn't it, with him?
No,
The first time.
first time,
Okay, first time with him. Move to defer.
second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Hi.
Motion carries. Now we'll move to item number 0094-23. Communications sponsored by Alder McCarthy, submitting an application for a hour premise description change for 1518 LLC, DBA the 15-18, located at 1520 Washington Avenue. Is it Shakila Buckley? Thank you. Shakila, sorry about that, I apologize. Attorney New, would you please swear the, thank you.
Yes. Ms. Buckley, if you could raise your right hand, please. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Please proceed. I'm sorry?
We called them
deferred it.
in.
Okay.
Yeah,
You guys wanna start?
go ahead.
Go ahead, please.
All right, this was deferred from the previous common council meeting due to a concern of a ticket issued prior to the, in between our previous approval and the common council's approval. We received notification from the police department that there was a ticket written for operating after hours. I believe it was 2:30-ish. I don't know if Sergeant Legaff could speak to that.
Yeah, on, it would be the 15th, officers got a call, in that area about people possibly having weapons inside the establishment. Officers made the location, when they entered into the establishment, it was at about 2:40, they observed about 75 to 100 people still inside the establishment. After checking, the original call was unfounded, so there were no weapons, so I don't know what that was, it was a refused complaint. At that point, they did, end up moving everybody out of the establishment after that point, but that was still past closing hour times, and there were still, quite a few people inside the establishment.
And a citation was issued.
Yes, so it was issued to the, operator of the establishment at that time for closing hours.
Was that the first citation?
No, that would be the second, I think.
Thank you.
If I could just,
Just one, Alder Peters. I'm sorry, Alder
Well,
Cole.
all I know is, first off, your hours hadn't changed yet, because we hadn't had the council meeting.
We informed, that was verbalized.
Right, but that being said, you guys still had 75 people in there after 2:30. So I just don't get it, how you guys can let that continue on and expect to have a business.
Try and explain anyway.
Now,
if
try-
I could just speak.
Yes, please.
So my name is Jeanette McAllister. I was just hired as the general manager at 1518. I started April 1st. So when I came in, this event that happened on this, day in question that we're speaking on, I was over that event. It was already planned before I came in. So the reason why I was hired for 1518 is to, kind of look, not only financially, work financially with the business, but also to help the business grow in a positive aspect. So when I came in, for this event in question, I did hire security. And we did have a lot of, young people who were trying to get into the club that night with fake IDs. We turned them around, and I'm sure that they were mad, so we were informed that somebody had called, and said that there were guns and weapons in the club. We patted down, as well as we wand every single person that came in the club that night. Ms. Buckley, she was out of town at the time, for her, second job. And when it got to 2:00, I was trying to direct people out the door, but people were coming through the back door. So what happened is I contacted Mr. Buckley to ask him to come over and help me get these people out of there. He showed up, it might have been around 2:25 a.m. We did have the lights on, music was off, and we were trying to redirect people out of the bar at that time. However, we had people who were waiting as well for meals. Because the bar is connected with the kitchen, and there were some people that were waiting around, so the time, kind of because of those people were waiting, that's kind of when everything cleared out. So that was my fault, as the fact that I could not control the event. We did have, if I can say, we did have another event that was supposed to be coming up, which
would have kind of brought in the same crowd, but we did cancel that event because that's not what we want to draw in.
Why were you focusing on 2 o'clock as closing instead of 12, which was your legal hours?
So I did not confirm that with them. I thought myself that it was 2 o'clock, but when I called.
I said we had it, but
Pardon?
I told her, like, when we came from the meeting with you guys, that we had it, but I didn't explain the part about, hey, we gotta wait till they go to
Specific day.
the next week or whatever, and just kind of, went from there. She called me, I wanted to get them in. However, you know, I mean, I'm a master at staying in my lane, and so I know that I was grossly out of my lane with doing this, and that's why we hired her, and that's why it got off to a rough start. She has experience with building a business and stuff. I just want to let you know I'll be stepping back. I will no longer be making decisions with my daughter. It's going to be her and Jeanette, who we hired. And, you know, I like a lot of the entertainment that was to come was kind of like at my wanting to do, you know, they're more laid back with eating and sipping and all that stuff or whatever, so.
And the night that officer did come in, he did explain that to me, and I apologized to him, and I did tell him that I was not aware that, you know, and he did explain that it had to go through the council again, and then we would have approval. I was not aware, but I did apologize to him and, you know, tell him that I did not mean, you know, for this to cause an issue. So my goal is to really bring in kind of what, you know, what was there first with Trade Winds is like a banquet situation, private parties, you know, birthday parties. We recently had a lady who celebrated her 40th birthday, and no issues, no events, and that's kind of what my focus is to bring in the right community and stay away from the rough community.
Which is fantastic to hear. Question for Attorney New. Okay, this was deferred back to us, so it's back in our lap. And so what would be the ramifications if we defer it, and what would be the ramifications if we deny it? So if we deny it, the extension of hours till 2, that's what we're talking about right now, correct?
Correct.
If we denied it, how long would they have to wait to come back? Or if we deferred it again like we did previously, because obviously there's an issue. You know, I want to see them succeed, but you can't have 2 tickets within a certain amount of time and then get the added hours, in my opinion. So what would be the ramifications for a deferral, and what would be the ramifications for a denial?
To be frank, there is no prohibition against them reapplying, even if you were to deny the request. So right now, their closing hours are midnight. They are requesting for it to be moved to 2 a.m. If you deny it, it would be an indefinite amount. So after any amount of time, technically, the applicant could come back before this committee and ask the same question. There's no ordinance that prohibits them from coming back. And if you defer, then you are setting the specific amount of time for the deferral. So that's really the only difference. And
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Alder
you.
Sebastian has a question first.
So, Ms. Jeanette, when were you hired into this position?
So April 1st.
April 1st, so very recently, and your background in this capacity?
General managing. So about 4 years experience.
Okay,
I'm working with different small companies as well as big companies.
okay.
What type of business?
There was different, I've worked with bars before, I've worked with people who are doing things where they're coming up in like hair shops, people with, you know, convenience stores that are just trying to kind of, they were already operating, but for some reason there was a problem within their business, and then I come in to kind of help them along.
Sure. And Ms. Jeanette, you seem seemingly very dedicated and very focused on what you want to do with this organization. However, I think we would agree that there are safety issues that we are concerned about, specifically in these type of settings and with a safety standpoint as well. How do you feel as though, when you're talking, as you were specifically saying about this specific situation, and I don't want to go in too much longer about this, these are pretty normal standard bar situations. This is not out of the blue. People are coming in, waiting for food, things of that nature. If this was to be declined and you were only to operate until 12 p.m., do you feel as though you would be able to make that work within your organization as well?
I would still be able to make it work. If, in all fairness, the only reason why we ask for 2 a.m. is because sometimes when we have private events, they like to start a little later, maybe like 7 or 8 o'clock. So we're just asking if, you know, it could be extended, because then we could at least give them to 1, maybe clean up and be, you know, be out of there by 2.
Can they get a special permit for extending later for hours? No.
I've got a suggestion.
Article.
So, the thing is, when you say you guys are closing at 2, you gotta have everybody out of the door at 2. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. I'm willing to keep the hours, but if anything happens within say, the next 60 days, I would look for some type of suspension. Because we can't keep having these types of problems, and I understand your guys' dilemma in trying to get things going. But I'm wondering if you guys are open to the idea of the next 60 days, let them stay open till 2, and if there's no problems.
No, they're at 12, extending till 2.
Right, I'm looking
absolutely.
to try to let them stay till 2 a.m., but if anything happens in the next 60 days, they get an automatic suspension of 60 days.
Discussion? Attorney.
Attorney, please.
Yeah, statutorily, there's no way to do that temporarily. So once you grant the request, it stays at 2 o'clock, and it can't be unilaterally revoked by the committee without a technical due process hearing. So you can't really do that.
Alderman President, please.
Yeah, so I spent some time, I wanted to look up that night, because the part that caught my attention, Janet, and you were very clear, this was planned before you even stepped on into your role. So with that being said, this event was planned, and when I was seeing it advertised, I followed all your links on there. Not your links, but the links that were posted for this event. And it was advertised, the doors open at 7:30. And seeing some comments that came in a lot later. So I didn't see 7:30 till 11:30. It was openly advertised. So I feel when it was planned with the intent for it to go to the hours that you assume to go to the hours, because that's typically bar closing time. But it is not this bar's closing time. And nowhere did I see on the advertisement that it closed outside of the typical bar closing time. So that falls on you, Ms. Buckley. And this is where I have a concern. You were before us. We had given you a 2-month grace period to say, because we were having calls of service coming in, we were having some issues. And we said, go to 2 and some months, come back before us if everything is clear. And I made that motion. So I'm feeling the hurt and the sting right now. I made the motion to approve because you guys stayed within the parameters in which you set. We didn't set it, in which you set. And now to see, and I watched the clip because they're recorded, our meetings are recorded. I went back and watched the licensing just to make sure it was very clear. It was not only asked by the chair of the committee at the time about when this was going to be going before the city council, when you would be able to operate. Not only did he verify it with the clerk's office and it got verified, I then reiterated it right before we moved on to the next agenda item. So to see then that very weekend, all of a sudden your operating hours you violated them before it was the final approval by the city council. And I don't know what that means. To me, I feel like there's a break in trust. And I was ready to embrace this new partnership in which we were developing from when we already were having calls of service to your establishment. And I thought we started on this truce, okay, now we granted you operating hours to 2 o'clock in the morning, and it was to go before the city council. And before it could even do that, we have incidents, an incident that occurred. We are low in staff with our public safety, and it's very concerning. If we were to do the same thing to you and break our trust, it would be hard for you to trudge forward and work with us. So it's hard for me to trudge forward, even though when Alder Coe did propose an alternative, which we cannot do, I was even having a hard time swallowing that. So I would like to hear what the other committee members would be willing to do, but at this point, I'm not willing to jump back and say, okay, who cares that you did that? Who cares that you violated what we gave you the trust to do? And let's just have you stay open till 2 o'clock. I'm not at that point yet. I feel hurt. So I would just be willing to hear what the other committees' voices are in the matter and what direction they're looking to go.
Alder Coe?
Well, if you guys are looking to do that, why don't we go back to the original where the new licensing period starts, July 1st. Keep the hours till midnight until, July 1st. That we can do, then we're the original. And then you guys change the hours.
Can we do that?
And they still gotta come back before us.
Start working with them in April,
Still gotta
too.
come back before us.
We have the renewal packets right now.
Still gotta come
Attorney
back
Yarn,
before us.
correct me if I'm wrong,
Oh, I think we have a little bit of a hiccup because the process already starts in April for the clerk's office.
Right.
So I think she's,
Okay, go ahead, I'm
You're
sorry.
gonna try another 60 or 90
So the
days?
renewal process comes through as the exact hours, and Attorney Yarn, correct me if I'm wrong, but if they were to change the hours after with the original application, they'd have to come back before the committee?
Correct.
Still gotta come back before us.
Yeah, so they would have to come back before us for the hour change.
So, was there,
I make a motion to defer for 60 days, see if they can operate for 60 days without incident.
we have a motion, is there a second?
Second.
Have a motion and a second, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Motion carries.
Well, I think that's kind of, I just have something to say. I think it's kind of a setup. He just made a mention that it was a frivolous call about weapons being made. So to say no incidents or no calls, like, you guys can clearly see that it's people that call on, the bar. So
I think,
say no incidents, like, what did that mean specifically? Like,
if I could.
Please.
I don't think this decision has anything to do with weapons on premises.
no, I'm saying
Specific.
he said no incidents as far as like, do you mean like with police being called or?
Oh, you mean me?
This has
Yeah,
nothing.
I was.
You're addressing me.
Yeah,
I
I'm
was-
addressing you.
Oh, okay, I thought you
When I say no instances, I mean no instances operating after midnight.
Gotcha.
If you call, we always want you to call the police. We've said that a number of times, okay? And
And we
the fact that
we
you
got
guys are
penalized
wanding
for it.
people and you guys are patting down people, that's fantastic. That's fantastic. We're looking for you to do what you say you're gonna do. Close at the time you say you're gonna close. That's my main concern. All bars get calls now and again. It happens to the best of bars. You have trouble in bars. People are drinking, you're gonna have problems. Give the police a call, be proactive. I have no problems with that.
And Alderman, I just wanna, so, I know that you feel hurt, just by looking at the situation, me seeing it firsthand. I didn't come to the first committee, obviously, I worked somewhere else, but I wasn't able to step away. I just wanna apologize to you, to say that, by you, kind of putting yourself out there and then for us to come back, I feel like it's my fault that I should apologize to you because I'm not on social media, but that is something that I can now incorporate. You know, hours end at this time. I am trying to kind of put everything together and make it work for the best, not just for the business, but for the community, as well as, you know, for the department as well, the police department, so that we don't have those issues. So I just wanted to apologize because I can tell that you feel that you were hurt in some way, and that was not my intention, and you know, I'm trying to work on that and to stay away from that so that we can be better, so that if we ever have to come across you guys again, you know, you'd say, well, we don't see anything, so, but, you know, the problem with African Americans who are in this type of business is that with the competition, you have other bars who are African American owners, and they don't like to see progression. I'm not a drinker. I don't go into bar establishments like that, but I can see it. Now I see it firsthand that, you know, there are owners who are of the same nationality who do things to try and, you know, ruin another business, you know. It's sad to see, but we are kind of up against that. But my main thing was to just apologize to you because that's unfair, you know, for that to happen to you.
So I know we're a little out of order here, but I would just like to address that. I thank you for wanting to kind of take the lead on that. But with all due respect, the agent that we currently have on file in the operator is Ms. Buckley herself. So I appreciate you trying to take the heat on this. Ultimately, who we have to work with and hold responsible is Ms. Buckley. And I can see she's asking for some assistance and hired you, and it sounds like she has made a wonderful business investment in having you come aboard. But as it sits right now, all the paperwork in which we have and who we have to address and who is the one who is going to have to face the music, if you will, is Ms. Buckley.
Anyone else have any comments? I would just like to say, or somewhat reiterate what Alder Peterson said. The precautions, being proactive, things that you've taken into consideration, like making sure all of the rules are followed, your wands, et cetera. Continue doing those things, and I wish you all success. Have a good evening. Okay, we now will move on to item number 0426-23. Subject, communication sponsored by Alder Sebastian, requesting for the committee to choose a day and time to hold regular meetings of the Public Safety and Licensing Committee. Staff recommendations to meet the Monday prior to the Common Council meeting at 5 p.m. No physical note. Is there anyone?
Does that mean like the Monday before the week of the council meeting, or the Monday before the council meeting? The next day?
The week.
Okay.
That's what we're doing now.
Right, well, yeah, that's what I wanted to
Yeah.
make sure we weren't.
That's what, I'm like, well, wait a minute, this is what we're doing right now, even though this is my first meeting.
Okay with you, I'm okay with the hours.
Please.
I would like to move to approve.
Is there a second?
Oh, wait,
I'm sorry.
I heard you guys talk about 2 meetings a month, so if this was the case, if this is how you approved it with meeting the Monday before council, it would bring it back down to potentially in the summer months, 1 meeting a month. So it would just be just the Monday before council.
So if I could just then speak to that.
Please.
So the one thing that the past president or chair, Terry McCarthy, brought up for discussion is because with liquor license, a lot of times they build up, our agenda builds up quite heavily, And some of these are, you know, people's businesses, right, or they're operating. There's a time component that we do need to consider, and also the licensed premise report. If we're only gonna meet one time, and to have that time lapse when there's an issue that might be of high volume, high concern, it's best if we act on those in a timely manner, is why we proceeded to go forward, or why Alderman McCarthy wanted to maintain 2 times a month.
Any other comments?
I think some of our meetings have been 3 hours and stuff, and like I said, what happens if people are waiting for a license, sometimes you might have to wait 6 weeks.
Yep.
So.
You, Peterson, were you saying anything?
I prefer the every 2 weeks, and then, we can always cancel if there's lack of agenda.
Right, we can always cancel
Sure.
if nothing's on there.
I'm not sure if I'm out of order, but you both make some very compelling arguments.
3-hour meetings when they met twice a month, so just so you know.
So we should meet twice a month.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we had a motion and a second.
A motion for a twice a month meeting.
Is there a second?
Yes.
I see it. Alderman Cole shaking his head. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. We will meet twice a month, 5 o'clock, room 207B. Item number 02723, subject communication sponsored by Alder Sebastian on behalf of the City of Racine Police Department for the licensing premises report. You're up, sir.
Hello. So I have, 2 things I'd like to bring up, so you guys are aware. Last month, or April, so it'd be April 14th, we had an incident at 509 Coastal Lounge. It was a civil, where the bouncer was actually assaulted by multiple people as he was trying to get people to leave the tavern during closing times. I do want to mention they were closing early because they felt like things were kind of getting out of hand, so they were closing early, so it was about 1:30, 1:26 is when the incident occurred. So he said as they were moving people out, some people were upset, and then ended up assaulting him. He was looked at by RFD personnel on scene, but didn't need any medical aid or anything like that. Officers weren't able to locate the parties that assaulted him due to the large crowds in the area, so they had to deal with that because it was in the street and everything like that. So we had that incident there. But it was a good job by the bar. I just wanted to bring it up because it wasn't an assault, but the bar did a good job. And the bouncer and all of them did a good job with paying attention to what was going on and feeling something was wrong. Yes.
Question on that one. Now, does that rise to the level where you guys ask to see their cameras to see if you can identify any of the people?
It would go to the investigators, so they're working on it. So I did reach out, so they're still trying to figure it out, but.
They are still working on it.
Yeah, it's hard to figure out if, and if he doesn't want to press charges, then it's done.
Right.
So he's still kind of up in the air, so I don't know if he's gonna follow through with the charges or not. So that will depend on how he wants to proceed. If he doesn't want to do anything, then we're done with it.
Thank you.
Then on, it would be the 15th of April, we had a shots fired call. The victim came into the ER with a gunshot wound to both of his legs. He stated that he was at Duo's Bar. There was some type of altercation inside the establishment, so he started to leave the establishment. As he left the establishment, he felt pain to his legs and drove himself to the ER. By the time the officers spoke with him at the hospital and made their way over to the bar, it was closed and they couldn't find any evidence or anything around the area. This case is currently assigned to an investigator. I spoke with that investigator today. He's working with the owner to try to get video from that date. The owner did state that he's hoping that the video wasn't deleted, just because of the time constraints from when it was going on. So that's still ongoing with that incident to see if it actually took place at Duo's. But that's where the victim said it happened. He was pretty adamant it happened there. But again, by the time officers got there, the bar was closed. There was nobody around. They couldn't find any scene on the outside of the area when they checked.
You guys have been cooperating pretty good?
He has. I spoke with the investigator and I asked him, he said, yes, he has been cooperating and texting and talking to each other back and forth. They just, for some reason, can't find the time to get in there to get the video.
I'm just worried about that because we had several incidents now and I don't want this to escalate.
Right, and that's why I brought it up, but I again, I asked the investigator, and he said they have been cooperative, so he has been working with them. It's just trying to narrow down time to get in there.
And it's not a lock, or it's not guaranteed that the shooting happened inside, or?
It's not. So that's why we want the video to see if it actually occurred there or if it occurred somewhere else.
Right, thank you.
I have a quick question, not related to those specific incidents, but as I was looking through the reports, when it said, I'm sorry, I don't know the language off the top of my head, officer self-initiated.
So that's an officer that goes to an establishment or is in the area and punches a form, so it's just saying that they're here providing extra attention. So you see a lot of them for like double vision.
Correct.
So we've
Near my
had,
neighborhood.
I know in the past, we've had problems with double vision, with incidents. So the officers that work that area normally drive by, sit there for a little bit, punch a form. We ask them to punch a form so we know that this is being done, so if people want to call and see, that's why that's done.
Perfect, thank you very much for that clarification.
And not necessarily no problems there.
Right, and I usually put, and you'll see in there too, it documented, no
Yeah.
violations documented.
Yeah, I
So that's
noticed
kind of
that.
how, so that's how that would be with those.
Okay, thank you.
And then there was follow-up questions. I know we have two new board members, but there was, I know I wasn't at the last meeting, but there was follow-up for Marcy's on Main and Pubon, Wisconsin. You wanted a 6-month check on calls for service there. Marcy's on Main had 8 calls for service in that 6-month period, so I went from November to April. And then Pubon, Wisconsin, again, same time frame, had 7 calls for service. I know last time we talked about Marcy on Main, there was an altercation and a shot fired outside the establishment. I spoke with the investigator on that. It's ongoing. He hasn't really gotten a lot of headway. There was another incident that he was actually put in charge of, so he's working 2 heavy cases right now, so he's still trying to get more information on that shooting victim for that one. Pubon, Wisconsin, they had an altercation inside the bar where a firearm was taken. That was brought up in the last meeting, right? Yeah, okay. So the altercation inside the bar, one of the gentlemen inside the tavern had a firearm that was taken from him during the altercation. The gentleman that had the firearm was arrested, and the investigator was able to come through and found the other person involved in the incident and arrested that person as well. So
So it wasn't one of the bar owners that took the gun
No,
from him?
it was not.
Somebody
it was
else?
the person he got into the fight with, so.
Great.
So, so 2 parties were arrested out of that one.
Did the Pubon, Wisconsin call the cops for that incident?
Yes. That's all I have for my report, unless you have questions.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you.
Motion to receive and file.
Is there a second? Motion carries. Moving on to item number 0.
You got to have a vote on
I'm
that.
sorry. I thought we did. Okay.
You got a motion on the floor
We
to
have a
receive and file.
motion to receive and file. Is there a second?
There's
I thought I saw that. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Now we'll move on to item number 07-23, communication sponsored by Alder Sebastian on behalf of the city. I'm sorry, we're on 021-23. Communication sponsored by Alder Sebastian requesting any consideration, any formal expression of concern or other actions pursuant to the police report.
Second.
All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. And
All those in favor?
all
We
those
didn't
in...
vote on it.
Huh?
Oh,
we
did we?
did.
I'm sorry.
Oh,
See, no, I'm, okay.
Just trying to throw them for a
Yeah,
No
you,
curveball. No, I gotta go back to work.
okay. See here.
No, we should be on
Anything more from city
Okay.
attorney?
Is there, looks like we've exhausted our agenda. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Yes.
I will second.
All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Motion carries. We are adjourned.